Okay, so before we do your paperwork, we just have a couple things I want to run through real quick. First and foremost, your liabilities in case of a total loss, probably the most important thing we're going to touch on, and then secondly, your factory warranty and what's covered under your factory warranty.
Okay.
Now, you're buying a vehicle today, brand new vehicle, roughly $40,000. You're financing your vehicle over 7 years, which is one of the longest terms that we offer. So this line here represents the end of your loan. Okay, Nat, so what happens to the value of any car, but especially a brand new car, the minute you drive it off the lot?
Loses value.
Yep, unfortunately. It would be nice if it didn't, but it does. So what happens is as soon as you drive off the lot, they say a brand new vehicle, you're going to lose anywhere between 20% to 25% of what you paid for the vehicle. So you drive off the lot, your car is going to depreciate a lot initially, and then it's going to slowly depreciate after that. Now what happens is you're paying your loan off at a fixed rate. So what that means is the same payments are going to come out of your bank account every 2 weeks, no depreciation on the rate that you pay off your loan. So you pay your loan off more like that. This line here represents what your vehicle is worth. This line here represents what you owe on your vehicle. As you can see, there's a space between the two lines. This is what we call your gap. Now, I don't think that you would do this, but this is just the best way for me to illustrate why this is so important. If you don't make your payments on your vehicle, then technically speaking, the bank could come and they could repossess that car as collateral because your car is the legally binding asset on that loan. Now, here's where the problem comes into play. If, and hopefully this doesn't happen, but if you ever get into an accident over the span of your loan that causes your vehicle to be written off, MPI is going to base what they give you not based on what you paid, not based on what you owe, but simply based on what the car is worth. So if, as an example, if in 3 years from now, you write your vehicle off, let's say MPI gives you $20,000, because of depreciation, we know you're going to owe more than that. Maybe you still owe $30,000. That means there's a difference of about $10,000 remaining on this loan. Now, this is where it gets tricky. A lot of people assume that they can keep financing this.
Right.
But going back to your car being an asset on the loan, that's not the case. If this happens, any difference here, whether it be $10,000, $5,000, $8,000, it does have to be paid off to the bank right away. And now, who's responsible to come up with that difference and pay it off?
Us, I guess.
Unfortunately, right? And that can be a lot of money to pay off to the bank. And this does have to be paid off right away. So we offer something called gap insurance. I suggest it to all my car buyers, especially brand new car buyers, and especially people like you financing over 7 years. This way you never get left in a position owing thousands of dollars for a vehicle that you don't own anymore. And then on top of that, you're not left in a position where you're having to worry how you're going to get approved for another vehicle while you still owe money on this one. Okay, so gap insurance just pays that off in full for you. This way you're never in that position.
Okay. And how much is it?
Yeah, that's usually the number one question. Nice thing is it's relatively inexpensive, so it only adds about $10 to your payment, and it gives you peace of mind over the next 7 years while you have this loan. You don't have to worry about ever being in this position.
Okay, and does MPI have something similar to this? Or
yeah, so great question. MPI does offer something. It is very similar, but it's also quite different. They do two very different things. So just to kind of explain to you the differences between the two, MPI's coverage is going to cover new car buyers for 2 years only, whereas ours is going to cover you for 7 years. But most importantly, what theirs is going to do is theirs is going to be more of a luxury. So theirs is going to take this $20,000 and it's going to replace your vehicle with a new one, which is great. That is a luxury. However, the only problem is you're still left with this $10,000 difference to pay off on your own, and that does still have to be paid off right away. So in my opinion, this here is your legal obligation. It's usually the most important thing to worry about first, and then to replace your vehicle should come second. You can do them together, but if you're going to go with one or the other, I definitely recommend doing the gap first, just because that is your legal obligation.
okay, so if I get the gap, I don't necessarily need the MPI protection.
You don't need the MPI protection. You can if you'd like.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Okay, Natalie. Quick question for you. After you're done here, you're going to go over to MPI and you're going to get your insurance. You've got actually have 7 days to go get it. We've got the 7-day registration stickers here we always use. But one quick question for you: are you planning on getting MPI's new car protection, or do you know what it actually is?
I've heard about it. I think I should.
Let me go through what it actually is for you. So
Okay.
at least that way you know.
Okay.
So you're buying your vehicle for $30,500. Okay.
Right.
And unfortunately, as soon as you drive it away, it's not worth that anymore, right?
Yeah.
Every vehicle depreciates. That's
Yeah.
just the way it works.
Yeah.
So how MPI's new car protection works is for the first 2 years, you get into an accident, heaven forbid, and let's say MPI says your vehicle's worth $25,000, and you've done $22,000 worth of damage. Clearly, you're in a write-off situation. Heaven forbid, how it's supposed to work is MPI will give you the $25,000 and top you back up to the $30,500 so you can get a new vehicle.
Right.
A couple of big problems with MPI system though. Number one, that's a huge accident. Is it possible? Absolutely. Of course, we've seen accidents like that, but it's not the most common. Bigger problem is you're buying the insurance from the company that determines whether your vehicle's written off or not. It's their choice, not yours. So they can fix your vehicle for $22,000 or replace it for $30,500. What do you think they're going to do?
Well, I think they would fix it.
Unfortunately, and that's what we see time and time again. They do whatever's cheaper for them. You know, at the end of the day, they're a business and they need to make money, so they're going to do whatever's cheaper for them. The other problem is you're financing this vehicle over 6 years, and you're making equal payments all the way through till you're at zero, right? That's just how they all work. What happens year 3, 4, 5, something like that, and you get into an accident, and because of taxes and interest and all that kind of stuff, let's say you still owe $18,000. But MPI now says your vehicle is worth $12,000. You've got a $6,000 difference there that you're still responsible for, right? So what are your options? Your options are either pay it out of your own pocket, roll it into your next car loan, which makes your payments that much higher, or you're making payments on a vehicle that doesn't even exist anymore. None of them are great options. That's why a lot of people, instead of MPI's new car protection, prefer getting what's called GAP. And all GAP does simply is it eliminates that $6,000. So you're not starting off your next vehicle on a negative foot. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, replacement coverage is actually a very good idea. The only difference is don't get it through MPI, so that you don't have to worry about any conflict of interest. It is available here instead. You can actually get it all the way up to 7 years if you want. So you're not limited to the first 2 years where it takes a huge accident to write off the vehicle. You could actually get it year 4 or 5, up to years 4, 5, 6, 7, where it's much easier to write off the vehicle. Ours works a little bit differently from MPI's too. MPI's replaces the vehicle purchase price. Ours replaces the vehicle with same options and equipment. Okay. The reason why that's important is you're buying this vehicle for $30,500. The MSRP is $32,000. Okay. 3, 4, 5 years from now, it's not going to be $32,000 anymore.
No.
Does everything go up or down in price?
Unfortunately not.
Absolutely. So if you can't buy this vehicle for less than $34,000 when you write it off, that's their problem to deal with, not yours. They replace the vehicle, not the purchase price. Very important difference on there. Ours includes a couple other little things too. When you go to Autopack, do you normally get car rental insurance as well?
Yeah, auto
Yeah.
loss
Yeah.
reviews? Yes, I do. Yeah.
That's actually included in ours as well.
Okay.
So that's money you actually wouldn't have to spend over at Autopack. Ours includes a $250 credit on your deductible if there's an accident and it's repairable. $500, not $5,000, if it's completely written off. So I always tell people you don't really need to pay to lower your deductible down to $200 or something like that. You could just go with a $500 deductible. Now, to be fair, you don't get your windshield replaced or repaired, at no cost. So if you get a stone chip or something like that, you do have to pay for that. That's $40. That's nothing. It's really quite cheap as far as that goes.
Okay.
Now, there is also, if you do have your vehicle stolen and written off in the first 5 years, you also get a check for $5,000 towards your next vehicle. So they got a separate indemnity for replacement in case the vehicle is stolen. So you can either upgrade to the next package, or you can lower your payments or whatever you want. The net result, when you have both of them together, you get into an accident 4 years from now. You write off your vehicle. Instead of driving brand new 2023 vehicle, and financing the whole amount, you're actually driving a 2023 vehicle with your same remaining balance as your current vehicle.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So I've gone through a whole lot of things here.
Yeah.
let me show you your options here, because
Okay.
there's a lot here that we've gone through today.
So now, just a quick question with this. I get this through you guys or through MPI?
Yes. So you can get the 2-year coverage through MPI. I always tell people, even if you don't go with my coverage, don't get MPI's coverage. The
Okay.
chance of you ever using it is very, very slim. Is it possible? Sure, but it is very, very slim.
Okay.
You're much better off to get it through us because you don't have any conflict of interest or anything like that.
Okay. So then I wouldn't have to get it there necessarily if I get it here.
Correct. And what I would do is when you're going to MPI, write on your paperwork, I'd write down, for instance, don't get the new car protection, don't get auto loss of use, don't get
Okay.
$200
You'll let me
deductible. I usually always put it in writing for you. So we got 3 different options for you. Your first option, just your basic package, this is what everybody feels they really need to have. You don't need to, but you need to have it. It's got that mechanical warranty that we talked about to start with for the full 10 years, 200,000 kilometers.
Okay.
And the last part of this is all this replacement coverage that I talked about. So the companion
Okay.
replacement, the gap, the first offense theft, that's that $5,000 if it's ever stolen or written off. Okay? Your luxury package, all we're actually adding is that guardian protection. So you're adding the guardian protection, the key remote replacement, the cosmetic rim damage, that kind of thing, as well as the tire and rims against road hazards. So that's
Okay.
what we're actually adding on the luxury package.
Okay.
Your spring limited time special, what we're adding there is your elite protection package. That's your rust protection, undercoating paint, interior protection,
Yeah.
and the diamond fusion that I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
Okay. When you take a look at things payment-wise, total payment coming into your account with just the basics would be $179. $201 if you wanted to add the luxury package. It's only $212 if you want to add everything. What makes the most sense for you?
Well, obviously I'd like to take it all, but it's just the cost.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, like it just seems a little bit more than what, like, you know, my budget was. It was kind of like 160 when it came in, and
I get that. I mean, my wife stays at home. I've got 5 kids. We do everything on a budget. I get that. I can understand. There's only so much money to go around. So you want it to be at 160. Obviously, you're going to be a little bit more than that. Where do you feel comfortable? Could you go up to 180, 190, 200? Where are you comfortable at the end of the day for protection and coverage that you really need?
mm-hmm. I think like 200 would be kind of my max. 'Cause
Okay.
I do, like, I'm going to keep it a long time, so.
Okay.
So I
So
want to have the.
there's a few ways that we can get there. So obviously you want everything, but it's just fitting it into that $200 budget. So there's a few ways we can actually do this. When you originally came in, you left me $1,000 deposit. Can we use that as a down payment?
Yeah, no, you know what? Actually, like, it's probably going to change my payment, what, like $1?
Well, actually, on a 72-month term like this, it would probably get you about that $200 mark on it. So it'd be pretty close. So
Yeah.
there is a couple other things we could do. So when we talked about the warranty, remember we said it's got the $100 deductible?
Mm-hmm.
We could look at maybe doing the $200 deductible. That's going to bring the cost of the warranty down just a little bit on it, and then that'll hopefully work towards getting it into your payment. We could also take a look at changing your insurances. So we've got a 48 or 60-month coverage, on your insurances for your life and disability. We could look at maybe cutting that back to 48 months. Again, that's going to bring the premium down a little bit, and maybe that'll fit into your budget.
Okay.
So when I do those couple little changes,
Now let's see what it works out to.
would you kill me over $1? I can get it down to 201.
201.
201.
Yeah,
That's without any money down from you.
Okay, that's with keeping my deposit.
Correct.
Okay.
No, that's not with keeping your deposit. That's with refunding your
Like,
deposit back.
okay, like I get to keep it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. No, that sounds doable.
Excellent. So I just need like 5 minutes just to get all the paperwork together, register all the contracts and everything. Why don't you go wander, grab a coffee, water while I take care of it. It won't take me long at all.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Brian.
No problem.
Okay, so we have a situation here where we have a $50,000 2019 Ram 1500 with a trade value of $5,000 and a loan on the trade only of $15,000. So customer, you will have a $10,000 negative equity situation here. We have an option called GAP, which is basically going to protect your investment. So I'll just show you quickly here what this does for you. So we have this graph here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this will show you the term of the loan and the actual value of your vehicle. D stands for depreciation. So in Manitoba, we typically have between 8 to 10 years where we take the most hit in depreciation. So let's say, for example, your vehicle gets written off at 2.5 years, and MPI decides to give you $25,000, but you owe 35. So what happens in this situation is you're short $10,000. GAP in this case will cover you up to 130% of Black Book value, or up to a max of $30,000, so you can walk away from that loan free and clear. Plus, they'll pay your deductible and give you an extra $500 to start fresh with a new vehicle. The nice thing about GAP is it covers you for the full term of the loan.
My last vehicle through MPI, I had coverage for 2 years.
The new car protection plan is what you're referring to?
Yep.
I'm glad you brought that up. So with 2 years new car protection plan, how many merits do you have?
5.
Okay. So if you go to MPI and you have 5 merits, this type of coverage is going to cover you only for 2 years max. What it's going to do is basically it's going to give you back what you paid for before taxes, so you don't lose any depreciation. If you have 5 merits, this coverage is going to roughly cost you about $21 a month above and beyond just your regular MPI coverage. Now, the nice thing about GAP is it covers you for the full term of the loan. New car protection plan only covers you for 2 years. So if it happened after that, you're out of luck. Now, I think that this is where you're mostly in risk. And in this type of situation, the first 5 years is the most crucial, because after 5 years, you should get enough from MPI to walk away and not have any issues. So the nice thing about GAP is it's payment-wise, it's a little bit cheaper than $21 a month, and it covers you for the full term of the loan. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Okay, Shane, lastly, we're going to go through something called New Car Protection. Have you heard of it through MPI?
No, I have not.
No? Okay, so I'm going to just go through that with you. Okay, so this is my graph here. So just the purchase price of your vehicle today is $45,000. Okay, your loan, you're slowly paying it off within 7 years, what we set up for the financing. And your vehicle, when you drive it off the lot, it's going to do one of these, right? It's going to depreciate, and then it's going to level off. Yours, mine, any new vehicle, that's the way it goes. So how MPI works is in these first 2 years of ownership is what they're going to offer you. If your vehicle was deemed at a total loss, in the first 2 years, they say they're going to give you what you paid, not the depreciated value. Okay? Now, what they don't tell you with Autopac is, heaven forbid, but let's say you're driving down the highway and you hit a deer, and you know when you get a collision in the front end, it adds up very quickly with all these electronics in the vehicle. So let's say the damages were $36,000, and you went ahead and you purchased MPI new car coverage. They're actually going to fix this vehicle basically until it exceeds the purchase price. Okay, so MPI, the way they work is they're going to fix it whatever's cheaper for them. So in this scenario, they're going to fix it for 36 versus writing it off for 45.
Right.
Okay. So now the other option we have with the dealer here is GAP protection. 90% of our customers go with this, and how it's different and how it works is, let's say you're driving your vehicle and between year 3 and 4 it was deemed at a total loss. Somebody hits you, you hit someone, vandalism, hail, whatever the case is. Autopac says, okay, Black Book, it's worth $21,000. Okay, and on your loan, you still owe approximately $30,000 because, as you see, Shane, you're paying your loan off at a slower rate than how fast your vehicle depreciates in value.
Right.
So this creates that gap, right, between what you owe to the bank and what MPI says your vehicle is worth. So GAP coverage comes in, takes care of this, leaves you free and clear.
Excellent.
So I'm going to provide you with the cost on this for the full 7 years, and if you decide to go with this coverage, then you would decline MPI's new car protection. Does that make sense? Any questions?
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Perfect.